Rappers spend all day trying to create a mystique. Like NBA Youngboy, there's a mystique about him. They're strategically creating this air of doubt and wondering. Youngboy posts from 6 different pages. Like,
so you think he posts from his fan pages?
Youngboy's called me up and said, "Yo, give me your password. I'm going live on your page." Like, the mystique of it is just not going from his page. You just don't know where you'll catch it.
You're very handsome in person.
You want me to take you on a date?
Do you want to take me on a date?
Yeah.
You can take me on a date. How old are you?
I'm 18.
I have a feeling we can go wherever we want to go, even with you being 18.
For sure.
Okay.
Do you put it up there in terms of like one of your best fashion moments?
There it is, nigga, big dog. I don't know nothing about fashion.
21 Savage had the fuck the streets movement that he kind of has been promoting these last.
I don't even fuck about that. I am the streets. I love the streets. I come from the streets. I ain't on all that pussy ass shit. But about that, I ain't just like stopped about it. Same shit I've been on.
The moment this story hit the internet, people thought it was just another late-night situation gone wrong. A fight inside a Houston restaurant, chains getting snatched, shots fired, but within hours, it became clear this wasn't just another incident, because the names tied to it, the way it played out, and what happened immediately after. That's what turned this into one of the most talked about situations in hip-hop right now. And trust me, it only gets crazier the deeper you go. It all started just before midnight. Inside a packed restaurant in Houston, everything looked normal. People eating, talking, and moving around like any other night. Then suddenly, the energy shifted. A group of men approached one individual. Not a conversation, not an argument. They surrounded him. Within seconds, it turned physical. He was pushed to the ground, and just like that, chains started getting ripped off his neck. Now, for most people, that moment ends one way. You take the loss, and you walk away. But this wasn't most people, because the man on that floor was All-Star Jr., and he wasn't going out like that. Shots rang out. Loud, fast, chaotic. People started running, hiding behind tables, knocking chairs over trying to get out. And in the middle of all that confusion, 2 men were hit. One of them, someone very close to a much bigger name. But to understand why this situation exploded the way it did, you have to understand who All-Star Jr. really is. All-Star Jr. isn't a mainstream superstar. You won't see him headlining festivals or dominating radio charts. But where he's from? That's a different story. Detroit. Joy Road. That alone tells you everything about the environment he came up in. Raised by a single mother, he's been open about his past. Getting involved in street activity early, even doing time before music ever became serious. But unlike a lot of people with that background, he didn't just pick up a mic for survival. He actually had something to say. Linking up with the All-Stars Ball Hard movement, alongside names connected to T Grizzly, he built a reputation that wasn't based on hype, it was based on respect. Not industry respect, street respect, and that matters in situations like this. Because when pressure hits, people fall back on who they've always been. And All-Star Jr. showed exactly who he was that night. But the other side of this situation, that's where things get even heavier. Because the people he was dealing with weren't random. They were connected to NBA Youngboy. Now, whether you like him or not, one thing is undeniable. Youngboy has one of the most loyal and intense fan bases in music. And more importantly, he moves with a tight circle. A real circle. Not just industry friends, but people who've been around him, representing him, moving in his name. One of those people is NBA Ben 10. Not just an affiliate, but someone considered part of that inner layer. So, when reports came out that Ben 10 was one of the people hit in that shooting, that's when everything changed. Because now, it wasn't just an incident. It was connected, and that connection raised the stakes immediately. According to early reports, this wasn't a random altercation. Authorities suggested it may have been targeted, meaning the people who approached All-Star Jr. possibly knew who he was, and knew he would be there. That changes everything, because now you're not looking at a spontaneous situation. You're looking at something that may have been planned. And when the moment came, it escalated fast. All-Star Jr. on the ground, multiple people on him, managed to reach for a weapon, and once that happened, there was no going back. 2 people were hit, both in critical condition. And just like that, the entire room turned into chaos. But somehow, in the middle of all that, he walked out. And what he did next is what really shocked everyone. Because most people, after something like that, disappear. Lay low, stay quiet, avoid attention. That's not what happened here. Instead, All-Star Jr. went back to Detroit. And within hours, he posted. Photos inside a jewelry store, new chains, fresh pieces, like nothing happened. And the message behind it, that's what made it hit even harder. It wasn't just a flex, it was a statement, a loud one. The internet immediately went crazy. People weren't just reacting to the shooting anymore, they were reacting to the energy behind it. Because this didn't look like someone scared of consequences. It looked like someone sending a message, and that message spread fast. But once people calmed down, a bigger question started to take over. Was this a setup? Because details started coming out that made the situation feel deeper than it first appeared. There were reports suggesting the attackers may have known All-Star Jr. would be there. And then another name entered the conversation, J. Prince Jr. Now, to be clear, no official charges have been confirmed, but his alleged presence at the location added another layer to the story. Because in hip-hop, certain names carry weight, and when those names get tied, even loosely, to situations like this, people start connecting dots. Whether those connections are accurate or not, the perception alone changes everything. Now it's not just about what happened, it's about who might have been involved behind the scenes. And while all of that was unfolding online, one person stayed completely silent. NBA Youngboy didn't say a word. No posts, no reactions, nothing. And if you know his history, that silence stands out. Because he's not known for holding back when something involves his circle. So, when he goes quiet, people notice. Some think it's strategy, others think it means something bigger is being handled behind the scenes. And then there's the reality of the situation itself. Ben 10 survived, but reports say the injuries were serious. This wasn't minor. And that adds a whole different weight to everything, because now it's not just internet drama, it's real-life consequences. And that's where this story shifts into something bigger. Because when you zoom out, this isn't just about one night. It's about how different worlds collide. Detroit, Houston, Baton Rouge, different cities, different circles, but all connected through music and everything around it. And when those connections overlap in the wrong way, situations like this happen. Fast, unexpected, and hard to control. Right now, the investigation is still ongoing. There's footage, there are witnesses, and there are a lot of unanswered questions. Who knew what? Who planned what? And what happens next? Because legally, this isn't over. And culturally, it might just be getting started. Because situations like this don't just disappear after the headlines fade. They evolve. They get referenced in songs, interviews, sneak disses, and subtle moves that only real fans catch. What happened that night is already bigger than the moment itself. It's becoming part of a larger narrative. At the center of it all, there's one question people keep coming back to. Was this self-defense? Or was this something that could have been avoided entirely? And that's where things get complicated. Because depending on how you look at it, the story changes. Some people see a man surrounded, outnumbered, and reacting the only way he felt he could in that moment. To them, it's simple. He protected himself when things went left. Others see it differently. They look at the buildup, the tension, the environment, and they see a situation that escalated way too far. A moment where multiple decisions led to a point of no return. And the truth? It might not be as clean as either side wants it to be. It might sit somewhere in the middle, where pressure, ego, fear, and reputation all collided at the same time. But one thing is clear. What happened that night didn't stay inside that restaurant. It didn't fade quietly. It didn't get brushed aside. It spread. Across timelines, group chats, fan bases, and the entire culture. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody's picking a side. And every new detail just adds more fuel to the conversation. And the ripple effects? They're still building. Because this isn't just about what already happened, it's about what happens next. Responses, reactions, possible consequences. All of that is still unfolding in real time. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think All-Star Jr. was justified in how he handled that situation? Do you think this was something that was planned behind the scenes, or just a moment that spiraled completely out of control? And most importantly, where do you think this goes from here? Drop your thoughts below. I'm really trying to see how people are reading this. If you made it this far, hit like. It helps more than you think. And if you want breakdowns like this, real stories without the filler, make sure you subscribe. Because this situation, it's far from finished. Because this story, it's far from over.